Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you from dual trips, dual vacations.
Yeah, well, I don't know about vacation. Well, one's a vacation.
One was a vacation, one was more dubious.
One was a trip.
Travel
Yes.
is what we return from. We'll just call it travel. Right now, and we come to you, I know it's been a bit since we've done an episode, but we didn't forget you.
No.
We thought about you every single night while we were on the road, and we touched your picture longingly on the bedside table. Okay, maybe we didn't do all that, but we did not forget.
No, we did talk about you a lot while we were gone.
Oh, yes, indeed, we did talk about you a lot. But anyways, this week we are coming to you in the middle of haunt recruitment season.
Yep.
Haunts are recruiting, the pro haunts are hiring, and so we're going to give you 9 red flags that for a haunted house you're considering working for. As we'll get into a minute, this is especially relevant with recent shit going on, but yeah, we'll be going into that in more detail in a minute. If, however, this isn't what you're interested in right now, there's 489 other episodes, each of them equally boring, we promise. Great to go to sleep to, we understand. Please check out more at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly, and wherever you get your podcasts from. Now, as we alluded to at the beginning, we've been traveling a lot, but we're also late with this because we wanted to get this topic right, especially given recent events. So yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute, but let's just do all the top of the show stuff, as we should do. Work we did for the Haunt Nun. We've been on the road.
Yep.
Hard to work on a haunt when you're in St. Louis.
It is.
And also hard to work on it when you're in the upstate. Watching the cringiest guy in the universe fail to pick up a bartender. I swear to God, I thought my internal organs were going to shut down.
Yeah, he was very bad.
Oh my God. It was like my liver is like, okay, we can deal with the liquor, but this guy's got to fucking go.
Yeah.
We don't have an anti for this. We don't have anti-venom for this.
Yeah, anti-nausea pills are basically all you can take.
Just shake the bottle above my head and pray that something get down there. My God. So yes, we did not get a lot done. We survived, and you know what? Sometimes that is an accomplishment.
It is.
Well, on that note, every week we ask a question a week. Last time around, we asked you, what ways does your haunt accept payment or donations? Because we were talking about buy now, pay later for haunts. Seemed very relevant.
Yeah. And Jinx Midnight said 96% cash, 4% credit debit via tab swipe chip, 0% PayPal, but it is available. Also, Venmo is available, but no takers there yet. There are $10 local charity haunt. People just can't be arsed to do order online tickets. Stopped even trying after 3 years of selling less than 10 online tickets per year.
You know, I think the unique thing there's the $10 price point for a charity haunt, which is a good price point for a charity haunt. There's no criticism there, but that does put you in kind of a unique situation, and that I think most people probably do have $10 of cash somewhere.
Well, they can at least plan to bring $10.
Yeah, it's. I think it's when you get above 20, cash becomes a severe limiter.
Exactly.
Because most of us can get a $20 bill pretty willy-nilly. If nothing else, we can swing by an ATM and pick one up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually easier to get 20s out of ATMs than 10s.
Yeah. But basically, you can get, up to, I think, 20. I think it's pretty common to have it, and I think it's pretty easy to get if you don't. Once you get above that and you start asking people to carry your large sums of cash, that's when the debit cards come out, and it's when all that goes on. Kevin Hopkins says, all major credit cards are accepted. That's a good sales pitch. Strong intro there. Apple Pay, Google Pay, and of course cash. We try to get as many pre-purchase online for multiple reasons, and I love the reasons he gives. They are all excellent. One gives an idea of how busy it will be and allows us to deter anyone from coming at the same time through time ticketing.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's kiss. 2, prevents them from standing in the ticket sales line. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They can simply walk to the queue entrance or have their QR code scanned. And 3, when purchased ahead of time, even if earlier in the same day they get on the property and they haven't taken out their wallet or paid for anything, they're more willing to purchase at the gift shop and concessions. Yes, 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 yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I mean, I know there was only 3 things, but I'm giving you 6 yeses because they're all double correct.
Yeah.
My podcast, my rules.
Yeah, I don't think that we've talked about the thinking behind not having to pay for something and then wanting to pay for things at the gift shop, like you mentioned.
Yeah, that was an excellent point. You're right. I don't think we've actually hit on it because
the psychology behind it.
Yeah, because in the buyer's mind, those are 2 separate transactions.
Yeah,
and where if I said, "Oh, do you want to go to 13th Gate and spend $200?" or on stuff there, you might go, "Oh, that's a lot of money to spend in one place." But if I go, "Okay, we spend $80 on the tickets," and then days later, or even hours later, spend $120 at the gift shop. Yeah, I can see us doing that.
I think we've been close to that.
Yeah, and I think I was pulling some actual numbers.
It's in the ballpark.
Close enough,
Yeah.
Round numbers. All right, but this week's question of the week. If you have ever left a haunt, why did you do it?
Mm-hmm.
What made you finally say no more and leave? Let us know. HauntWeekly.com, HauntWeekly on Facebook, YouTube.com/HauntWeekly. Leave a comment. Send an email. We read everything you guys send us. Everything. Ooh, no, okay. All right. Well, it is also an even episode this week, which means it is time to do the conference reminders. And boy, there are some conferences coming.
Yeah. July 26th and 27th, it's the Texas Haunters Convention in Irving, Texas. At the Irving Convention Center, featuring a trade show floor, haunt tour with dark hour, and game night. TexasHauntersConvention.com for more info.
I cannot recommend this convention enough. We were fortunate enough to go one year, and now that they've moved, we can go again.
Yeah.
Because they're not in the place that had... I mean, it's a great conference, and unless you happen to have had a severe allergy to cedar, you probably were fine at the old location, too.
Yeah.
But now that they've moved, we can consider going, and like I said, this year it won't work out because of grandbaby and other things.
Yeah.
Just too much going on.
Timing.
But dude, I am excited to be able to go back at some point.
Yes.
Okay, that same weekend, the 26th and the 27th in Fresno, California, it's Hauntmare Expo. At the Fresno Fairgrounds, featuring 5 haunted attractions, 3 escape rooms, and a rage room. Various special guests and horror panels, HauntmareExpo.com.
And after that, it is August 8th through the 10th. Let me try that again. August 8th through the 10th.
Back it up.
Well, now you've messed up that intro, too.
Paul is somewhere clawing his eyes out right now.
He doesn't even know it's about him yet because we haven't gotten that far into it.
I'm pretty sure he figured it out because you got the 8th or the 10th.
August 8th through the 10th, it's the event 3. We were at the second one. It was great. It is returning to Lexington, Kentucky this year at the Crowne Plaza. Many celebrity guests, trade show floor, drag shows, theevent.com.
theevent.com to be specific.
Yes.
Also, the celebrity guest features a face-off reunion.
Yeah, so if you're a fan of the show...
Which I know a lot of haunters are.
Yeah, go to HAH, the event. That's 2 E's in the middle of that.
Yeah.
.com.
And see if your favorite contestant is on there. Yeah. All right. Finally this week, August 15th through the 17th in Long Beach, California, it's Midsummer Scream at the Long Beach Convention Center, featuring a newly enlarged, embiggened, if you will, Hall of Shadows, the Screaming Room featuring a bunch of horror movie screenings, tons of celebrity guests, midsummerscream.org for all the details. Yeah, there's some great... This is just a great lineup.
Yeah.
There's not a weak link in this bunch.
No, if we ever got the chance, we could just, hop a plane and, pick which of the first two.
Yeah. Yeah, those two are happening at the same time. That's the complexity there. But yeah, no, it is a great lineup of conferences coming up. So if you want to get, if you want to go to a haunt conference that's not Trans World, there's some good options.
Yeah.
Good options.
And fairly spread out.
Yeah. Especially if you live in California, you're doing really good.
Well, yeah.
All right. So anyways, let's try. God, I've been so happy up until this moment.
Yeah.
And now, after, one of the reasons, like I said at the top of the show, we've kind of delayed this episode is we wanted to take the time to get this right. Because this is tough. Because we're starting off with the elephant in the room, so to speak. Mm-hmm. On June 17th, Anne Rajrat at Spotlight, Pennsylvania, released an article regarding the Field of Screams in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. It was a very, very long article, and actually it's two articles, because one is the article itself, and there's a second article that is about how the article was written. Mm-hmm. And I encourage you to read both. I will put both links in the description. But both are incredibly good. And basically, this reporter worked her ass off on this piece. She talked to 18 different volunteers from Field of Screams, and basically reported incidents where managers sexually assaulted or harassed younger volunteers. Some were teenage, some were just younger.
Yeah.
But people in their care, so to speak.
Yeah, and it basically leads to an environment that was very toxic for everybody.
And the part that really frustrates me, and I think a lot of people who read this, was the haunt was made abundantly clear about these issues in 2020.
Yeah.
And in fact, I checked, we reported on it in the news episode at the time, because it did make the news.
Yeah.
We did talk about it then. It wasn't quite the explosive story that it became in 2025, but yes, there were accusations, and the people who were accused were not only allowed to return, they were allowed to return in their roles, including being unmonitored with underage minors. Yeah. So, the main culprit from 2020 was not removed. And now 2025 version not only addresses that individual, but many others who were problematic at Field of Screams. And even though it's, we're recording this almost 2 weeks after the story came out, it's still unfolding. Mm-hmm. There is a public group entitled The Official Untold Stories of Field of Screams, where many, many, many more people have come forward. And it's not just discussions of sexual assault and so forth, sexual abuse. It's also just a myriad of other kinds of abuses, too.
Yeah.
The treatment is horrible.
Yeah. It's
across the board.
Like I said, an entire environment of toxicity.
Yeah.
And bullying, and it's bad.
Bullying, manipulation, intimidation, physical endangering people. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is incredible. And basically, the way I look at it, and having read both the group and the article and everything else, it's like, this was like a layer cake, a shit layer cake. And the foundation was they decided not to pay their actors. Mm-hmm. And there are some people who are paid, and they're all the full-time staff, I believe. But their actors and even the managers, on-site managers, are not paid. Then they recruited underage actors without adequate supervision.
Right.
We've always had the rule, underage actors are welcome if their parents are on site. Mm-hmm. And that is both so that we can help control them, but also to keep an eye on them and make sure nothing happens.
Well, and it keeps it safe for everybody involved.
Exactly. And usually the parents have been pretty cool about that. I mean, granted, we're only doing it 3 nights. This is a full season, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, not adequate supervision. And then they created a toxic culture where physical assault, where people were expecting to get punched and hit and hurt, but missing a night, even if you had serious obligations. One person in the group talked about being guilted into act even though she had a family funeral to go to.
Yeah, and another one had some kind of state champion or regional championship to go to and was told that they had to act.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then, like, to just enclose the ecosystem and make sure the mold grows strong from the walls, they protected those who were reported to have mistreated actors. They claimed that these are unfounded rumors, even though enough people have come forward that there is got to be at least some kind of problem. Yeah. You know? I mean, I don't know what kind of evidence is good enough to make the rumor founded. To make it a quote-unquote founded, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just crazy that it doesn't seem to be they are taking it seriously at all.
No, even now, they do not seem to be taking it seriously, and that's incredibly frustrating because their only comment to the reporter was that, yeah, we're aware of unfounded allegations and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, 18 people? That's a lot of founding.
That is a lot of founding. And in the group, there are text message screenshots and videos that were shared from parties put on by Field of Screams. And it's harrowing stuff if you are okay seeing that kind of things. You can go and check it out.
I'll have the links in the description. Please, though, excellent point, content warning.
Yeah, exactly. Just a warning that there's stuff in there that will trigger some people. Yeah.
And of course, as all this is going on, Larry Kirchner has to show up and make shit worse. Because he posted a comment to the original article about how this is nothing, this is just two staff members having a sexual relationship and blah, 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 blah. And completely not reading the room.
Well, so... And the fact that he commented at all.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to.
Nope. Staying quiet is always an option.
It is. So that makes me really curious what's in his fucking past. Yeah. Because now he looks sus.
Yeah. Like I said, he could have just read it and learned his lesson and moved on. You know, like I haven't commented anything in the group or on the post. Me either. And I'm not going to because it's not my fucking place. But we are following this closely. We'll probably have more on it in the upcoming news episode. Yeah. Which I think is 492. So we're coming back to it. But that being said, this is a topic we've actually had on the back burner and in the idea bucket for a while. And we're entering peak haunt recruitment season. And we definitely wanted to talk about it. And it kind of got bumped way up after the recent events.
Yeah, because this isn't the episode we planned to do this time. No. This isn't what was planned for 490, but it is what it is because
we felt this was important.
We need it. The timing just needs to be done.
Now, I want to make one thing abundantly clear, though, before we move on. None of this is victim blaming.
No.
But, we're talking about haunt red flags, but we're not saying that, these people should have recognized the red flags and run away. No, that's not it.
No.
We're not saying the victims are to blame at all. And in fact, they've actually, reading their stories, some of the things on this list are from their experiences. I learned from them. Yeah. I never would have thought of some of these. But holy shit, when you hear it in hindsight.
Right. And that's it. Because a lot of times, first time haunters especially... don't know what to look for, don't know what the red flags are. And that's just what we're trying to do is put some of them out there so that if you go into a new situation or you're, trying to get in with a new haunt, you know what to look for.
I'd like to give an example. The very first haunt we acted at in South Carolina, the Boy Scout haunt. Yeah. I look back on it, holy shit, more red flags than Mother Russia. I mean...
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was sketch as fuck in hindsight.
Let's see. Real weapons.
All up in the shop.
Inappropriate scenes.
Actors with actual criminal backgrounds in scenes with minors. Yeah. Including one very, very dangerous scene with a minor. Yeah. That could have literally gotten him killed. Yeah. I'm not even exaggerating with that.
No. This was our first haunt experience.
Yeah. And we didn't recognize it because we didn't have the experience we do now. Yeah. Both in participating in haunts and operating them. We now know at least a little bit more, I think, about what to look for. And that's what we're trying to do, is pass on some of that knowledge and some of that hindsight to others. Because believe me, a lot of this is fucking hindsight.
Oh, yeah.
So, and as they say, hindsight is 20/20 unless you need to have cataracts or, I don't know. But the point of the matter is, we're trying to pass along some of our hindsight here, not victim blame. And by the way, another mild point here is we are typically very, very thorough about attribution and citation.
Yeah.
If we pull one from the Field of Screams group, we will not be attributing it to the person. We'll just say this is one that came from those stories. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people there are anonymous. And B, it doesn't feel right to call them out even if they aren't. So, there you go. On that note, our first red flag. Mm-hmm. They don't pay everyone.
Yeah.
This is a simple rule. Haunts should pay everyone or no one. Mm-hmm. There.
Yeah. Done.
Because here's the thing. It is perfectly fine to work for a charity haunt for free. Mm-hmm. To donate your time to a worthwhile cause while having fun. Totally fine. But there is a big difference between a charity haunt and a non-profit haunt. Thank you, HauntCon, for educating me on this point.
Yeah.
Because this has come up recently with some other haunts. But basically, all you have to do to be a non-profit haunt is donate 51%, I mean, more than half,
right,
of your profit to charity.
Yes. That's it. That's literally it.
You can pay yourself to work there. Mm-hmm. You can pay yourself a salary to work there. You can make it your living.
And the thing is that when setting up a nonprofit, you can also pay the actors. You can build that in to your cost of running the haunted house. So there's no reason, if anybody's getting paid, that nobody should.
Exactly. Either nobody gets paid, everybody's working for charity, everybody's working the cause. And that was one of the good things about the Boy Scout haunt we talked about.
Yeah.
It was a genuine charity haunt. Ain't nobody there getting paid.
No. I think all the proceeds went back into the Boy Scout.
Exactly. To the local Boy Scout troop. You know what? I'm hunky-dory with that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so basically, if everyone like I said, but here's the thing, like, actors are employees at a haunted house. And this is one of the things that really has frustrated me in our modern times in this 1099 era.
Yeah.
Because as you know from working in human resources, you have more insight here than I do. Mm-hmm. If the person works directly on delivering your product or service,
yes,
they are an employee.
Yes, exactly.
Now, that might sound a little weird when you think about, like, Uber.
Well, they had a lawsuit about it.
I think California ruled.
Yeah, and that's why I've worked for companies that would not work in California, because they worked there once, got fined for having contractors who were supposed to be employees.
Yeah. If they are providing the core service or product, they're supposed to be paid. They're supposed to be an employee. And employees get paid. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't mean everyone gets paid the same, but everyone gets paid. Everyone is treated like an employee. Mm-hmm. Now, I get it. You can be and there's plenty of toxic workplaces where people get paid.
Yeah.
But this is a warning sign from the get-go that the haunt has some kind of bullshit hierarchy, and you're in the shits on it.
Exactly. Because you can't... the hierarchy that it sets up gets it really unfair in the power balance and the power dynamics.
And you would think as a volunteer, I just don't have to show up. They have nothing to hold over me.
Yeah.
Well, even in paid environment, even paid haunts, nobody's making their full-time wage as a haunt actor 6 weeks out, just working 6 weeks out of the year.
No.
That's just the reality of it. It doesn't necessarily guarantee actor loyalty. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that they will show up. It is just about doing what is right to the people who work for you.
Right. And real quick, I'm not positive that we did specify what a charity haunt is versus a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
A charity haunt just means that a haunt has connected with a charity and they give some of their proceeds to it, they are not qualified under the law as a non-profit organization.
Yeah, or the haunt is being put on like Chinchuba's was,
right,
directly by the nonprofit organization.
Right, and that's how the Boy Scouts was too.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I think of more when I think of a charity haunt. I think of a charity deciding that their fundraiser should be a haunted house.
Yeah.
And the charity puts it on.
Yeah.
And like I said, those can be wonderful experiences. I have a lot of great memories of going to charity haunts. They're a lot of fun. In fact, technically, one of our favorite haunts, Waterloo, is technically a charity haunt.
Yeah.
Because it is put on by Waterloo Sportsman Club, a nonprofit sportsman club in Southern Illinois. And they put it on, and they operate it, and nobody's getting paid there, and all the money's going back into the club, including trail maintenance, building upkeep, all that stuff. So, yeah. But everyone gets paid, or nobody gets paid. Nothing in between. Anything in between is a red flag.
Yeah.
You should be very, very cautious. Second item.
Number 2. They're okay with you being assaulted.
Oh, fuck me.
This one is from the group.
Yep.
If your haunt tells you to expect to get punched or assaulted, don't stick around.
Yeah.
Don't let them do that because, as somebody who's built a lot of scenes in tight spaces, we always make sure that our actors are protected or have space to retreat.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. Haunting is a physical activity.
Yeah.
Even if you do it the safest and the bestest you can do it, people are going to bump into each other.
Yeah.
Especially considering
accidental touch is going to happen.
People are going to bump into each other. You're going to probably get a bruise or two. This ain't ballet, though ballet gets a lot of bruises too. I don't know why that's the expression.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's the expression, but, yeah. But yeah, basically, stuff is going to happen. And that's unavoidable. But if the haunt says, oh yeah, you're just going to get decked 5 times a night at least, don't stay there.
No.
They have designed that haunt incredibly poorly without actor safety in mind. If they haven't done that, just think of what else they've done that's unsafe for you.
Yeah, and
that's the part they're telling you up front.
Exactly, and that's one of the other things that isn't specifically on the list, but I'm putting it in here. If they don't talk about safety at all, if they don't give you the safety rules, what to do, if there is an emergency, all of that kind of stuff, that's also giant red flag.
Yeah. Yeah, safety should be up front, period. And like I said, if they're like, well, you're going to get hit a lot, and that's just what happens here, they're not taking safety seriously.
No.
And if you do get punched, if someone does manage to punch you or take a swing at you, that person should be fucking ejected ideally on their ear. But barring that, at least get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because if they don't eject those customers, if they don't stop to get rid of that person, they are not prioritizing your safety. Do not work there. It is a dangerous environment. You could get a lot worse than punched.
Exactly, because Ellie worked a haunt once, a charity haunt.
Yeah, firehouse haunt.
In a dot room. Somebody intentionally poked her in the eye, and they came and injected that customer right away. Before they got through the next scene.
Yeah, and they'll just piss off all the first responders in the area.
Yeah.
Fucking dumbass. Sorry. I caught a wee little bit of something while traveling.
Yeah.
But yeah. Number 3. You don't know who to go for help. Now, this doesn't have to be about serious things. What happens if you need a break? Yeah. What happens if you need water? Your costume tore, your makeup smeared or something. Who do you talk to say, hey, I've got a problem, can you help me fix it? It could be the most minor thing, or it could be, like I said, someone just took a swing at you.
Yeah.
Or it could be something serious. If you do not know who to talk to, leave. Especially if you don't know who to talk to and you ask someone in your room, and they don't know either, really leave. Because basically you need a representative for you somewhere nearby with authority.
Yeah, and most haunts during their orientation will go through this.
Yeah.
They will tell you the safety rules. They will tell you who to go to specifically for what types of problems. and who's going to be in your area that can handle those problems.
Sometimes they're called a zone manager.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's a smaller haunt, they might just be the haunt manager. But there's someone you know by name and appearance that you can find quickly and easily if you have a problem, big, small, or otherwise.
Yeah. Just as an example, at our haunt, Bernie, aka Jonathan, is the person outside.
Yep.
I am the person inside the haunt, and I have a manager on the other side of our haunt that we have direct communication.
Yeah, it functions like a zone manager.
Exactly. And then we have the adult on Halloween night, who is Ellie.
Yeah. And basically, if someone has a problem, we'll say inside the haunt, they might talk to the other zone manager. They might talk to you. We will communicate with Ellie, and then whatever will be done. But that actor knows exactly who to talk to immediately.
Yeah.
They know how to start that process.
Exactly. All right.
Number 4.
Number 4. You're made to feel bad about having other responsibilities. We touched on this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So if you don't complete the night because you start feeling ill, then the night doesn't count towards your perfect attendance.
Or you get hurt.
Or
something happens.
Yeah. It's just, that's bullshit. Like, don't put up with that. There's no need for that. A haunt is not so important that it should affect your personal health or welfare or life.
This is just true in general. This isn't just a haunt thing. But the people who support you will support you in all things that are important to you. Yeah. Not just the thing that's important to you and useful to them.
Right. Like, I ran into this in a career field with a very bad boss who, her previous assistant, she was told not to go to her father's funeral because she wouldn't have a job when she got back.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
That's horseshit.
Yeah. She told me that I wasn't an independent or strong person because I was in a relationship.
Yeah, it didn't matter what the relationship was.
No.
I mean...
At that time, it was just the two of us. But, I mean, so people who say things like that and try to control you, it's just not a good situation to be in.
Good examples of questions that you should not be asked.
Yeah.
What do you mean you have school tomorrow?
Yeah. Curfew? What curfew?
What do you mean by other clubs and activities? We're your club. We're your activity, man.
Yeah. We're your family. Don't you know it?
Yeah. You don't need to go to your dad's funeral.
Yeah.
This is all toxic fucking behavior. And haunts that are genuinely trying to haunt families and people who are trying to support you are going to encourage you to have that balance of all the things that are important in your life.
Yeah.
They're not going to try to make you feel bad for having a rich and full life and having other obligations.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be like, so in real life, outside of haunt world, we have families. We were all born to somebody. Some of those are toxic situations. Yep. Some of them aren't. But whenever you get to be an adult or get to make your own decisions, you can choose your family. And that's what you want to do, is you want to choose people who support you, who help you grow in ways that you don't expect. And are not negative or trying to put you down or keeping you from reaching your potential.
And limiting you to just one thing that is, like I said, useful to them.
Yeah.
That is such an important thing. So, if you are made to feel bad for not being able to work certain nights due to other responsibilities or just for having a life outside the haunt during haunt season, turn around and leave.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had an actor who worked with us for a couple of years who went to a very large local haunt that had a cult-like following inside of it.
Yep.
He biked there because he didn't drive. So he biked for like 45 minutes to get there. Showed up 2 minutes after the call for open casting call, basically, for auditions. And they said, you can't show up exactly on time, you have to leave.
Yeah, and he was also 2 minutes late, if I remember the story correctly, because he couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Like, he would have been early if he had been able to find it.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah, trust me when I say a haunt a haunt family, a haunt can be an amazing and supportive and wonderful place.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that means they have to support you as a person, not just you as a product they put out there and display.
Exactly.
That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big one for me. Because it's not we know everyone involved with our haunt, but especially once you get to a certain size,
Mm-hmm.
if the haunt does not background check or screen you, that means no one else has been background checked or screened too.
Exactly. You don't know who you're working with. They don't know who you're working with either.
Yeah. And basically, you have to submit to one. Is one thing. You do have to usually agree to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just remember that if you don't pass a background check, no one else does. Now, background checks are not perfect.
No.
I understand that. They are very limited. But it is a basic thing that a haunt can do to protect its employees and its customers.
Yeah.
And one thing, and this is unfortunately something I've learned recently that kind of upsets me, is that some haunts, it seems, are pretending like they background check people. They'll have it on the employee, little website thing.
Yeah.
Saying, you cleared your background check, and they just tick the box and never actually did the check.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. So you got to watch out for this. You got to make sure they're actually doing the background check.
And I will tell you that every company I've worked for that has performed a background check has given me a copy of the actual check afterwards. It should be available to you should you request it.
Yeah. And actually, I would encourage you to go through that step to request a copy.
Yeah. Just to make sure you're not running into bullshit like he just mentioned where they're saying, oh, yeah, you passed it, and they didn't actually do it.
Yeah, they just maybe Google searched you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that would not work with me.
It would not. No.
Because I pass any background check, but a quick Google search of Jonathan Bailey, New Orleans, well, have fun with that.
Yeah.
I'll let you find out why my name has been smeared so horribly in this city.
Yeah.
Not my fault, I might add.
No.
Hint, I'm not in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, So yeah, they should be doing background checks. If they aren't, be wary. Number 6.
There are many horror stories that we've reported on over the years and that we've heard about and that we've, witnessed firsthand.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do is talk to or read other people have posted about working there.
Yeah.
And this is true at any company, not just a haunted house, by the way. This is just a great life advice.
Yeah.
In general. But it's especially important here because, every haunt of a certain size is going to have a few disgruntled actors. We got 1 or 2 of our own.
Yeah.
We got someone out there that posted a racist screed online, so we kicked him out of the team. And he hadn't forgotten it. No,
he tried to post some negative comments and reviews for us.
So, every haunt's going to have a few.
Yeah.
It's just like anything else online. You get enough people with a product or a service, some people are going to be unhappy. That's life. But if there's a lot of these, and they're telling the same stories and raising the same issues, you might be better off going somewhere else.
Yeah. And places to look for are, do they have a Facebook group that you can go and check out that's public or even it's private? You could check for just a search that is, I worked at such and such haunted house.
Yep.
And then that'll pull you to any stories like on Reddit or...
And if the haunt's large enough, they may have a page on a site like Glassdoor or something.
Yeah. Where
you can... Because that's a site where you get where employees review their employers.
Yeah, exactly. I always check Glassdoor and a few other sites just to make sure if I'm going into a new job...
Yeah. That it's a good fit.
That it's a good fit and that there's no glaring errors out there.
Yeah, Bob's Podunk Haunt that's having its first season won't be on there.
No.
But, but larger ones will be, and you can learn not any. And the other thing is, you might not learn that they're a bad haunt, but you might learn that maybe their culture isn't a good fit for you.
Yeah, and the other thing
Through no fault of either one of you.
Yeah, and
some people are just bad matches.
The other thing is, whenever you're there and you're doing the auditions night, talk to some of the actors who have been there a while.
Yeah.
Say, why do you keep coming back to this haunt? What do you like about this haunt? And if that doesn't vibe with you, then leave. There are other haunts.
Yeah. Find another haunt, or hey, if you can't find another haunt, do your own haunting. Become a home haunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's basically what we did.
Yeah, I mean, you just learned the story. Well, technically, we also was 2005, but
yeah, there
were mitigating circumstances there.
Yeah.
Like a hurricane.
Yeah.
So but check out the reviews. Check out what other people are saying.
Sorry,
in October it can. But yeah, check out what other people are saying. Read the reviews. And if you see the themes come in, note the themes that keep coming up over and over and over, positive and negative.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, a culture of rule breaking. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Basically, if you have rules, and this goes on both sides.
Yeah.
If customers have rules, and you usually got a big old fucking banner somewhere, and the actors have rules. But if people routinely violate those rules and nothing happens, yeah.
In fact, if it's just kind of expected. And what brought this to mind was I worked with someone who's like, oh yeah, this local haunt, it's so big, it's so bad, and they say they're not going to touch you, but every year they touch everybody that comes through there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you just told me that they don't follow their own rules.
Yeah.
And that it is public knowledge.
Yeah, and this was also something from the group, too, because the Field of Screams group, they talked about how there was a strict rule about going through any of the haunts while intoxicated.
Yeah.
But they would constantly let people through, and those customers, of course, were the ones taking swings. Of course they were the problem customers.
Yeah.
Because I get it. Sometimes it's hard to tell if someone's intoxicated. As someone who works front of house, I fucked that up a few times. But if someone's visibly intoxicated, we get them out. And apparently, that's a rule that gets broken a lot at some haunts.
Yeah. Another thing is saying no drugs or alcohol on premises, and then turning a blind eye whenever, that one haunt actor sneaks it on premises so that y'all can partake. That's not cool.
And then they usually take a dump in the fog machine, and...
Yep.
Actually, that is how that night ended, so...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, it ended with the cops being caught,
yeah, sure.
too.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so sorry, that was the next to the ending.
Yeah.
Crap. By the way, a fog machine, for those who don't know, is basically a heater.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't in that section of that haunt.
No, neither of us were.
But...
yeah, we both were inside. This was outside.
Quite a decision to do that.
Yeah. So the culture of rule breaking, no bueno, no good. No, very, very, very bad. It ends with poop and fog machines,
and the cops getting called.
And the cops getting called.
Yeah. All right. Number 8 is having inappropriate scenes and themes. If a place advertises nights that are racist, sexualized, or intentionally provoke negative responses from customers or from people coming through it or working at it, that's not a good thing. They just want to be trolls.
Yeah. And a lot of haunts will try to be edgier or more hardcore or whatever.
Yeah.
And there are ways you can push the boundaries and still be safe, still be respectful, and still respect everyone involved. But the problem you run into with a lot of haunts is that they want to do things that are sexist, racist, like one I remember haunt locally, well, this was a long time ago, did a sexual assault sequence in the middle of just a random segment.
Yeah, there was talk of that in the group also. And I found other stories online because I'm like, how many times do haunts set up sexual assault scenes?
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly often.
Yeah, you would think that would be something that we would just avoid.
Yeah.
Because it's the wrong kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, and there was one story that actually made the news where the simulated assault was on customers going through.
Yeah, I remember that.
Definitely didn't consent to that. So yeah, it's just, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Get out of there. Don't stay.
And even if you think those scenes are cool or badass or whatever, the fact is this showing of great lack of consideration for both customers and actors, and that lack of consideration will come back to bite you.
Yeah. And I think that I would put on here, check the sites and see if there's any trigger warnings or any concerns for in the rules for people.
Like content warnings in
exactly.
general. And I mean, they'll usually have like we use strobes and fog, be wary of that, but actual warnings about the content is what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think that shows an extra layer of thought given to how people are going to respond.
Yeah. All right. Well, our final point, number 9, ageism and sexism. Now, this one's a little complicated.
Yeah.
Because even without ageism and sexism, and I would also add racism too, to this, but any isms here.
Yeah.
Don't be an ism.
No.
But yeah, even with the best of intentions, haunting is still very much a young person's game. As someone in his mid-40s, I'm figuring out why. And it is still very much male-dominated. And it's also predominantly white, too. I mean, and these are things that are just issues that are bigger than any one haunt can solve necessarily.
Yeah, now we are seeing some of those trends changing, which is good, very good.
Yeah.
Hopefully the haunt industry will be in a more progressive place by the time we die.
Which, we keep haunting, might be in like 5 years.
Yeah, could be 5 years, could be 40, who knows.
But yeah. But do take a look at who they are recruiting, who they're targeting, and who they're hiring. Are they hiring almost exclusively extremely young, impressionable people, especially if they're targeting underage?
Yeah.
That is a warning sign that they are wanting people they can manipulate. They're wanting people who are impressionable. Are they hiring people who look like all kinds of different people? Are they only hiring quote-unquote attractive people? Are they only hiring... what are they recruiting from? What are they trying to do?
Yeah. At auditions, are they asking people to perform traditional gendered roles? Like, if you're a man, are you going to be asked to pretend to be a mechanic or a woman, a mom, or cook?
Yeah.
Because that is one of the things that pisses me off. Like, that is one of my hot button issues.
Well, and it's really it's a complete waste to put a woman in a cook role, because as we've seen time and time again, the craziest chefs are all men. They're the absolute nutters. No, and yes, I am teasing.
Yeah,
but I do think a crazy male chef could be a great character.
Yeah, it's just. The more that the gender conversation unfolds, the more it is clear that these roles just shouldn't exist, full stop.
Yeah.
Like, gendered roles don't mean anything. People assigned it, and other people agreed to it for some reason, but there's no reason for that.
Now, I will say this, there are roles that do require certain body types. Some roles you need a bigger person. Some roles you need a smaller, sneakier person.
Yeah, but that can be...
male or female, that could be anything. And they could play any part. I mean, we've talked before about, like, some of the creepiest scenes I've been in had the big, bad, burly guys being the victim to the tiny, demure person, male or female. Should not in any universe be able to physically overpower them, and you're immediately like, okay, that's flipping the script. Yeah. And that's so yeah. there are roles that are for certain. There are legitimate reasons to choose certain people for certain roles. Is what I'm trying to hit at.
Yeah, because like some are going to take more flexibility, some are going to take strength. You've got to keep in mind if you're working with someone who is mobility impaired in some way or have different mobility.
Some roles require people that are good and comfortable at talking.
Yeah.
Some really require people who can shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's tons of options out there, and it should be picked upon, the skills and the attributes you bring to the role, not necessarily which genitals you have.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
If you're doing the role with your genitals, I assure you, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Please do not use your genitals in your on role.
Jesus Christ.
And the thing is, I do actually have to say that because there was that one haunt.
Yeah, I know. There was the one haunt.
There's always the one haunt that fucks up every joke.
Like, we shouldn't have to say that. But we absolutely did. Because we've been to that haunt. We've seen all of the naked people and that,
Yeah. Anyway. On that bombshell, to steal a line from Top Gear.
Yeah, well, the last part of this is if you see that they're only pairing older actors with very young actors and preferred gender assumptions, run.
Yeah, and do be mindful that a lot of haunts will quite wisely pair experienced actors with newcomers.
Right.
So that will bring some age dynamic, but that's not the same thing. There's plenty of very experienced actors who are also still quite young.
Yes, exactly.
Because, once again, haunting is a young person's game. Believe me, my back reminds me of that every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that bombshell.
Okay.
Thank you very much for spending the past hour with us. No, this was a heavier episode, but indeed it was an important one. Please choose your haunt wisely. Mm-hmm. Until next time, check out everything else we do. We're at hauntweekly.com, hauntweekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly, and basically any and every podcasting app on the planet. Mm-hmm. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we'll see you all next week. And it should be next week because we're not fucking going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm staying home, motherfucker.